If you're ever trying to put your friend on with the UFC and you're looking at a card to show him for the first time and trying to put him on and you're saying, are these fighters going to bring the entertainment? Are they going to bring the bangers of fights, or is it just going to be a bathroom break kind of card? That's what this video is for. Today we're going to be ranking in a spectrum of sorts in a bit of a tier list. I'm going to be ranking the UFC fighters by how much action they guarantee, with the whole purpose of the video being to show who really can guarantee action and entertainment in the UFC, and the fighters that when you see their name on a card, you kind of get nervous that you could see a stinkfest in store. So just getting into the tiers here, man. The S tier starting off, these are going to be the guys. I'm going to keep it a bit sacred here, but it's 100% guaranteed action. Like genuinely 100%, man, whether it's via grappling, whether it's via knockouts on the feet, or whether it's wars of decisions every time, whatever it may be, the whole point is that S tier is 100% guaranteed action. They have had every one of their UFC performances have been entertaining. Going down to the A tier, it's just slightly below S here. It's more so 90% of the time that these guys show up in the cage, they're bringing entertainment, they're bringing bangers, or they're bringing finishes. The B tier, this is still good, all right? These guys are entertaining to watch, but they can have a bit of a dull performance once in a while. They're kind of like the guys that are 75% of the time around that range. When they show up, it's going to be exciting. And there's also kind of fighters that are going to be in this tier that are a bit more of like the chess match kind of fighters. They're very patient and technical, but they know how to be entertaining as fuck with it, okay? The C tier, these are the hit or miss guys. It's completely hit or miss. It's a 50-50 chance. It's a coin flip if it's going to be a boring performance or if it's actually going to be exciting. You just don't know. Sometimes they bring it and sometimes they snooze it up. The D tier, we're really stinking below here. This is where the guys that more of their performances they're not are a bit lackluster. They're not completely boring fighters. Like they're capable of putting on fun fights or finishes once in a while, but more so than not, it's going to be a bit of a decision fest, or it's just going to be a stinker in general. And the F tier, I mean, I'm barely going to have anybody in here, but this is where genuinely most of their performances in the UFC have just been lackluster. I mean, barely any finishes or memorable fights or any moments like that. So these are the tiers here. So just starting off with the first one we got here, man, we're going to be starting with Petr Yan. Every hardcore's motherfucking favorite here, okay? This is interesting because I feel like anybody could literally put Yan in S through D, and I feel like, you know what, maybe I could see what you're saying, but I'm personally going to go with B. I think Yan is an entertaining fighter. Now, some people might be upset at this, like, oh, Petr Yan is one of the best boxers you'll ever see. Like, this guy's putting on masterclass after masterclass. He absolutely is. Yan is entertaining. He's primarily a striker, but when he mixes up, it's not like it's a fucking smudge fest. Like, he knows how to get after it. He's very well-rounded. He's elite on the feet, but he knows how to mix it up on the ground. He's got good takedown defense as well. He's got great cardio and solid output on the feet, and he's able to maintain both like a beautiful fusion dance, okay? So what's boring about Yan? I wouldn't say there's anything really boring about Yan. I just think that he's a bit of a decision merchant, and that's okay. Like, he's still putting on fun fights, and there's going to be a couple guys on this list that are putting on fun fights, but they might just not have the same finishing ability as some of the other guys on this list. Some people rely on that more than others. Like, look at a guy like Tom Aspinall. He's getting all first-round KOs, and that's his way to entertainment. And Petr Yan, it's like these 5-round wars versus Figueiredo or Sandhagen. That's his version of entertainment, and I think that's great. Like, Petr Yan, the thing about him, I think he's more so of like, he's one of these guys that's going out there and he's putting on chess matches. He's very technical, he's very patient, but he knows how to he knows how to get the fuck after it at the same time. He's a nice kind of blend. That's why I personally think Yan is entertaining, but I just think the fact that there are a bit of, I don't even want to say stinkers here and there, because Yan never really puts on like boring fights, even his more lackluster ones. Like, they're not bad fights by any means, but I just think there's some rounds that kind of go by a bit slower than others, and I think that with a lot of Yan fights, like, especially when he's the favorite and he's expected to win, like, it's kind of the same thing every time. He's warming up in the first round, in the second and third he takes over, he starts throwing more output, he starts landing cleaner, he starts hitting fucking harder, okay? He's looking like he's got ultra instinct there as the fight progresses, but ultimately I like Yan. I'm a fan of him. I think he's entertaining and he's good for the division, but the lack of finishing ability and the fact that a lot of his fights are kind of very similar, they're fun, they're wars, but they're very similar. I'm gonna put him in B. I think that's a good slot, alright? I'm sorry, but moving on up next to Leon Mambo Mouth Edwards, bruv. I simply believe I'm the best fighter in the world. Okay, Leon fucking Edwards. I can't stand this guy. Now, I'm gonna keep the F tier pretty sacred. Sacred in terms of the way I keep the S tier sacred, okay? But kind of the negative version. They're just boring me. And I think Leon Edwards is worthy of the F tier, in my opinion, okay? And I'm not trying to be disrespectful here. I'm really not. His physique, his athleticism, his kickboxing, like, there's a lot of things going for Leon Edwards, okay? Like, the guy is a good fighter. He's got a good bit of solid wrestling, underrated wrestling at this point, in his back pocket as well. The skill set is there. I don't think he ever was kind of worthy of being the fucking champion, even though he fucking did it, but it is what it is. He's a good fighter, but man, like, everyone used to say, like, Bilal Muhammad was the most boring fighter in the division, okay? He has one good fight with JDM, and now everyone says otherwise, but regardless, like, I never thought that was the case. Like, Leon Edwards, in my opinion, has just been such a
boring fighter. He's a decision merchant, but it's like the fights that he's going to the distance, they're not even wars, they're not even back and forth. It's like it's very patient, very technical. He's on the back foot a lot. He's not fucking finishing guys. He's not hitting that hard, okay? He's not throwing a crazy amount of output. Leon Edwards just does what he needs to do to win. And as an athlete, that's totally fucking fine, okay? There are more boring fighters than Leon Edwards, but I can't even really name like a really just fun back and forth Leon Edwards fight, okay? Like even the fight against Belal the second time. I mean, that was fun, but he got beat the shit out of him for most of that entire fight, and relatively it wasn't even that fun of a fight, okay? And then like I just can't think of like a banger, even when he's going against guys like Nate Diaz, and you know what I mean, like, hey, what's up? And he's pointing him at the end of the fight and shit. That was like the only moment. It was 24 minutes of Leon Edwards just being patient, technical, piecing him the fuck up, just doing whatever he needs to do to win on the judges' scorecards. Leon Edwards, he could say whatever he wants about headshot dead, bruv, I'm gonna knock your fucking head out, I'm gonna knock your fucking teeth out, bruv, but he knows he's gonna go to the distance. Like if you look at a Leon Edwards fight and you're a betting man, okay, and the odds of the fight going the distance, they're usually pretty fucking high, okay? Leon Edwards, some of his fights are better than others, but I feel like it's just stinker after stinker with this guy, if that fucking makes sense, okay? So I apologize to the Leon Edwards fans. I don't even know where they're at anymore. I haven't seen a Leon Edwards fan since he lost the fucking belt, okay? But moving on up next to Let's Go For That, okay? I used to be on Spectrum, but now I have, how I say, master's degree. Jiri Prochazka, this is going to be the S tier. I'm going to put Jiri Prochazka as the first S tier. I'm a big Prochazka fan. As soon as Volkanovski hangs up his gloves, Prochazka, I'm ready for him to become my favorite fighter, okay? And I say that because I'm a fan of entertainment, I'm a fan of excitement in the cage, and Prochazka brings that consistently every single time. Even when he got knocked out back-to-back by fucking Pereira, okay? Those were still fun scraps, and Prochazka, he did have a couple of moments, and in general, like the wars against Jamal Hill, Glover Teixeira, fucking Alexander Rakic, okay? I blanked on the motherfucker's name. He's been a bit irrelevant lately, but in general, like even then when he's getting just quick finishes and quick work of guys, like it's still entertaining as fuck, and it's not like other guys can't have moments against him. Like guys have won rounds off of him, like even a guy like Dominic Reyes, who got finished brutally by Prochazka, one of the best knockouts of that year. Even Reyes had a couple of moments that was making it semi-competitive, but in general, Prochazka brings such a high pace, a high pressure, and a high finishing ability every single time. And even if this guy does go to the distance, which I don't believe he has yet in the UFC, which is crazy to say because he's continuously just fighting at the very elite level for the division, this guy's just not going to the judges' scorecards. And it's not like I need someone to just completely get finishes every time for them to be in the S tier. I'm not going to just reserve S for exclusively fucking finish artists every time. But the fact that he's still out there and able to put on fun fights that are enjoyable to watch, and it just so happens that they end with a fucking amazing finish, it just helps for Prochazka, okay? But every single performance he's had in the UFC is entertaining to watch. It's either a great scrap, or it's a great finish, or it's just something in fucking between, okay? But Jiri Prochazka brings it every time. Constant action, it's goddamn guaranteed, and the motherfucker is a wizard outside of the cage, a goddamn samurai, okay? I know those two aren't related, but I'm putting Prochazka in the goddamn S tier. Moving on up next to a fucking bit of a sleeper pick here. We got Jailton Cannonier. I'm going with him in the B tier. I'm going to put him in the B tier. I like Jailton Cannonier. I fuck with him. I think he's pretty consistently exciting. He puts on fun fights, but there's just something about Jailton Cannonier where it's like, it's not put on banger every time, and he can't put on like a fight of the year candidate against a guy like RoboCop. There's not many stinkers that Jailton Cannonier has. He has the fight against like Adesanya, and he has shit like that here and there, but in general, like the fights against Strickland, the fight against Brunson, the fight against Baraujo, like Jailton Cannonier knows how to put on fun performances, and he's been doing it consistently for years. He doesn't always get crazy finishes, but the guy has solid power in the feet. He's got good ground and pound. He's got good elbows. He's solid in the clinch. Like Jailton Cannonier, underratedly well-rounded. I feel like he's pretty solid in all regards. And the dude is, he's primarily a striker. He kind of wants to stand and bang, but he knows how to make it a dogfight scenario. And I feel like he tries to consistently bring that most of the time he fucking fights here. I'm very hyped up for the fight against MVP. It could be a stinker. It's just kind of one of those things. That's why Jailton Cannonier's not higher. Like, I feel like once in a while he can, kind of have a stinker of a fight. It just kind of, depends on who's taking him to the dance, or maybe he's just kind of having an off night, or maybe he's getting beat the fuck up. Who knows? But in general, I think Jailton Cannonier, he is entertaining. It's not the craziest shit you'll ever see, but most of the time he's ready for a fucking dogfight. I'm going to put him in the B tier. Moving on up next to Cory Sandhagen. I'm going to put him in the C tier. Nowadays with Sandhagen, you don't really fucking know, okay? This Sami Zayn looking motherfucker. Like, here's the thing. Back in the day, people forget, man. You're in his world now, friend. Like, this guy was getting finish after finish, flying knees fucking out of nowhere, and fucking literally murdering Frankie Edgar, okay? And even when he is going to the judges' scorecards, like, he's putting on really fun fights, like the fight against Yan, the fights against Dillashaw, like shit like that. Like, Sandhagen, man, like pre-COVID era, or around like that COVID COVID era. Like, Sandhagen was killing it, okay? But over the past few years, like, it's kind of like you don't really know anymore. He finally got back into the finishing column. He finally got back into, like, he's been winning most of his fights, okay? And most of the time in impressive and dominant fashion, but there's stinkers here and there. The Deiveson-Figueiredo finish in his last outing, it was nice to see, okay? His ground and pound developed a lot. His offensive grappling in general has become more entertaining, and, like, he's always been slowly kind of developing over the past few years. Like, we all know Sandhagen. He pushes up his glasses, and he drinks his fucking veggie Starbucks, and he's like, I'm just trying to become a more well-rounded fighter by the day, man. I'm just a fan of this sport. At the end of the day, I'm a student of the game, and I'm just trying to learn more every day. Cory fucking Sandhagen, he's like a sponge of fucking knowledge, okay? And his grappling, it's been developing. His striking, I feel like it's been in a bit of a stagnant area, but in general, he's a lot more patient, a lot more technical. And in terms of him becoming a better fighter, especially a more well-rounded one, I think he's just doing that. I think he is evolving. I think Cory Sandhagen is a good fighter, but the fights before the fight against Deiveson-Figueiredo, like, it was a bit of a stinker after stinker. They weren't all bad. Like, they weren't totally fucking snooze fest. I wasn't falling asleep, but the fight against Rob Font, I know he had a torn tricep, but that wasn't anything crazy. The fight against Cheetah was alright, nothing crazy. The fight against Song Yadong was alright, but it wasn't anything too crazy. Like, the fight against Umar was alright, but it wasn't anything too crazy. You see the point? Like, he's not putting on stinkers of fights. And it's not like he's just completely lost all of his finishing ability, but you just don't really know with Sandhagen anymore. Like, he could have an absolute fucking banger of a masterclass, but in general, I feel you just don't really know with Sandhagen anymore. It's kind of a hit or miss, all right? So some fights could be fun, some fights could be bangers and finishes, but some fights could be snooze fest, or who the hell, or he just gets fucking 50-45. Who the hell knows? So I'm going to put Sandhagen in the C tier. Moving on next to Grant motherfucking Dawson. I'm going to put Dawson in the C tier as well, and I know that might get some shit, okay? Dawson, some people might put him in F, some people might put him in D, all right? But I'm rocking with Dawson here, okay? I feel like he's a bit underratedly entertaining. A lot of the time, I won't lie, he puts on stinkers, okay? Like, he puts on stinkers more frequently than a guy like Cory Sandhagen, okay? So it's a bit weird that they're in the same tier. I'm going to put him in D. Never mind. I'll go down to D for Grant Dawson. All right, my bias of him as a fan is kind of leaking in here, okay? I rock with Grant Dawson. I think his skill set is very underrated. His grappling, his ground and pound, like, it's all there, okay? His striking isn't all that, but he's been developing. We saw that in the Carlos Diego Ferreira fight, okay? He's throwing, like, spinning back kicks and shit, okay? But Grant Dawson, I think he has the potential to be an exciting fighter. Like, again, he has the tools he's been developing on the feet. He's got solid ground and pound. His grappling is a lot more, I feel like, for control. Like, he's very efficient, but he doesn't always get guys out of there via finish. But he does here and there. He can get his fair share of submissions. He can get a, fucking ground and pound TKO. And then he's talking about bouncing quarters off his wife's ass right after on the mic. Okay, like, that's the shit I love about Grant Dawson. Not necessarily all that, but you know what I'm saying. But he has his fair share of stinkers. Like, against certain opponents, he can fucking stink it up, and he's not afraid of just doing what he has to do to go get a win. And I like Grant Dawson. I'm solidly entertained half the time by his fucking fights. But the other half of the time, I'm not gonna lie, you're kind of looking at that clock ticking down and down every second. You're like, all right, this kind of needs to end here, okay? Let's fucking give Grant Dawson this win here, okay? And then by the time he actually fought somebody in the rankings, he got knocked the fuck out. So I like Grant Dawson. It feels a bit weird to put him in the D tier. I'd have him higher, but I guess D is what it is, bro. So moving on up next to Joshua Van, my fucking boy, all right? My favorite flyweight, and it seems like nowadays everybody's favorite flyweight, and I'm not even going to complain about it, okay? I'm glad that everybody's hopping on the train. S tier for Joshua Van. I feel like it's pretty fucking fair. I'm going to put Van in the S tier here, okay? Our little fucking Minecraft baby zombie on the rise. Because Joshua Van is consistently entertaining every time. And that's what the S tier is about, man. Like, there hasn't been really any boring performance he's had in the UFC. He's only lost once, and it was against Charles Johnson via knockout. But that was a very fun fight. All 3 rounds until the actual knockout. And Joshua Van was winning that fight. So, in general, man, the guy throws such a high output on the feet. It's ridiculous. And the output has gone down a little fucking bit in his past couple fights. But that's crazy to say, because you just saw the Brandon Royval fight. That literally broke records for the amount of fucking strikes that were thrown on the feet, especially for it only being a 3-rounder. So that's fine, and especially for the flyweight. So that was a crazy fucking fight. So that's crazy to say, but Joshua Van, it seemed like against Bruno Silva, he was focusing a bit more on finding all the right shots and really trying to crack him and take him out of there instead of just throwing the fucking spam of output that he did on the feet before. Like, people call this guy the Max Holloway, and I think that's pretty fair. He's a stand and bang fighter, primarily a striker who has good defensive grappling and good takedown defense in his back pocket, but you know what you're signing up for when you get Joshua Van. He's kind of leading the way for reviving the flyweight division. The flyweight division this year has been absolutely on fire. Like, there's been a lot of good fights, a lot of good matchmaking, and Pantoja's been killing it as champion, but Joshua Van is kind of leading the way, man. Like, a lot of people are rocking with him. He puts on very entertaining fights, and now he's getting finished, and like, this guy is just everything you want, okay? He doesn't talk shit on the mic, but this is just me ranking guys in terms of their entertainment inside the cage, okay? This guy doesn't say shit outside of it. He doesn't give a fucking squawk. But in general, I like Joshua Van, man. Primarily a boxer who knows how to stand and fucking bang. I'm pretty sure he has the most significant strikes thrown per minute in the UFC right now for all fucking weight classes. So this guy brings it every time. Most of his fights do go to the distance, but who gives a fuck? They're fun as fuck. It's just a fucking enigma watching Joshua Van. We love to see it here. I'm putting him in the S tier, god damn it. So moving on up next to a bit of a change of tone here. Mateusz Gamrot. I'm going to put Gamrot in the D tier. And I'm glad that I put Dawson in the D tier as well, because I feel like him and Gamrot, I'd put it at a similar level. Because I feel like Gamrot, he isn't all boring. But over half the time, man, he's got a bit of a smudge fest going on. He's a bit of a decision merchant. Like, he can get a finish here and there, but it's nothing all that. And, like, look at the fight against Ludovic Klein, his last outing. I feel like that's a really good way to summarize most, or at least a good portion, of Mateusz Gamrot's fights. A lot of grappling, a bit of smudge festing. There wasn't too many big moments. It was ultimately a fucking dominant decision for Mateusz Gamrot, but there were a couple fun moments. It wasn't all bad to the point to where you're falling asleep. It kind of kept you enticed, but in general, there wasn't anything captivating enough to make it a good fight. So I'm going to put Mateusz Gamrot on the D tier. I feel like his striking is underrated. I feel like his grappling is good. He's got good cardio. His skill set is there, but in terms of entertainment, he could put on a banger once in a while against fucking Jalen Turner, against Dan Hooker. Like, he has that in his back pocket. He knows how to put on really fun scraps. But I feel like he just chooses when he wants to access it. Okay, like, because then you have the fights against Klein, then you have the fights against, like, RDA, and it's not all that. So for Gamrot, he's a hit and miss fighter, but it's more so of a miss, so I'm going to put it in the D tier. He's not all bad, but you know what I mean. You fucking know what I'm saying. Moving on up next to Khamzat Chimaev. Now, this is weird because I feel like I don't want to put him in the S tier. Like, there's something about me that's like, okay, let's put Khamzat Chimaev in the A tier. And I know that that's just because the dude is inactive as fuck. And it goes to show that he's his own worst enemy. Like, people forget, man, but I truly forgot how exciting Khamzat Chimaev was. I was thinking about before this video, I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do with Khamzat Chimaev? And I was thinking the A tier, but I really can't think of a single boring performance he's had in the UFC. And he's been around since 2020, so he's had a fucking few years now in the UFC. But the inactivity is just killing him. Like, he doesn't have too many fights relatively here. Like, I'm pretty sure Joshua Van probably has more fights in the UFC already, and he just fucking got here. He just spawned in, okay? So, Khamzat Chimaev, though, I gotta put him in the S tier because I really can't think of an example where this guy isn't getting a dominant, insane fucking finish in the first couple minutes of the fight. He's knocking out GM3. He's submitting Whitaker. He's submitting Kevin Holland. Or he's having back and forth wars, fight of the year candidates against Gilbert Burns and Kamaru Usman and shit like that. So, there really hasn't been any smudge fest. There really hasn't been any fucking holding you against the fence and just trying to stall at the clock. Like, he's not a smudge grappler. Khamzat Chimaev is an absolute fucking marauder in there, and I'm not even saying that unironically, or ironically, whatever the fuck it is, okay? Khamzat Chimaev genuinely is in there to try and take your fucking head off and squeeze your head off every second of the fight. Like, he's running to the cage like a goddamn madman. Don't be fooled that now when he's doing, like, the pre-fight pressers and he's looking like a fucking Dagestani Steve Jobs with his fucking bifocals and the sweater, and then he goes out there against Robert Whitaker. He's still the fucking same guy that's on the spectrum running to the cage, and he's a fucking absolute animal in there, and he's submitting Whitaker within a couple minutes. It's crazy, man. Like, his grappling, he makes it entertaining. It's dominant as fuck, and his striking, when he is going back and forth with guys on the feet, like Burns and like Usman, it's pretty fucking fun to see. Like, he's getting kind of pieced up, but he's well-rounded. His grappling is insane, and he really hasn't had any boring performances. Again, if he was a more active fighter, even fighting twice a year, I feel like he would have already fought for the belt maybe a fucking year or two ago, and maybe he would have had a better perception from the fans, and there wouldn't be guys like me who's like, has Khamzat Chimaev had a boring fight? And you literally just forget because he's not fucking fighting. So I'm going to put him in the S tier. He's constantly bringing entertainment, but I'm not going to lie, he would be a nightmare fucking champion, okay? The dude would never fight, so it is what it is. Moving on up next to Tommy Aspinall. This is crazy because I was saying, like, okay, I'm going to keep the S tier sacred. I'm not going to really overstack it with too many guys, but I got to put Tom Aspinall in the S tier. These are the guys that are guaranteeing action, okay? Like, Tom Aspinall consistently is getting round 1 or 2 knockout or submission. Like, I don't have much to say about Aspinall. We all know what the fucking deal is. I'm so glad he has a fight booked. I'm glad that we actually have an active heavyweight champion. Aspinall is so underpromoted that it's fucking crazy. Like, he's so entertaining inside the cage. I feel like you could argue that maybe he should go lower into an A or B tier because he hasn't really had any decisions in the UFC. He hasn't had any, like, back and forth wars or, like, a fight of the year candidate. So maybe I should move Aspinall down. Maybe I fucking should. But the reason I'm putting in an S is because he is the embodiment of what S is. Like, he's guaranteeing excitement. He's guaranteeing action. You know that when Tom Aspinall steps in the cage, it's probably going to end via some brutal fucking finish, either him winning or him fucking probably getting finished as well. He's never been to the third round of the UFC. He has a damn near 100% finish rate, I believe. And the guy has insane power and athleticism. And it's just like, Tom Aspinall, is just an even more evolved version of an evolved heavyweight. Like, he's quicker than a guy like Gane. He hits fucking harder. He's got the wrestling. Like, Aspinall is everything you want in a heavyweight. He's well-rounded. He's powerful. I'm going to put him in the fucking S tier, okay? Moving on up next to Merab Dvalishvili. Hey, guys, thank you so very much for not putting me in the F tier. I really appreciate it, you know. I'm going to put Merab in the C tier. Same as Sandhagen. Kind of fucking ironic here, but Merab, you got to finish over O'Malley. What the fuck can I say, all right? And the fight against Umar and the fight against O'Malley for the rematch, they were fun. I would have put Merab in the D tier before that because, like, the snoozer against Yan, the snoozer against O'Malley the first time, like a lot of fights on the come up for Merab that weren't all that. And like, don't get me wrong, like the fight against Cejudo was fun and shit like that. And the other fights I mentioned, like Merab over the past couple years. Oh, and also the fight against Marlon Moraes. That's one of the best fucking like 2-round fights I've ever fucking seen. But Merab beating Marlon Moraes, like he has it in his back pocket. He knows how to be entertaining, but most of the time, not most of the time. There's a reason why he's in the C tier, not lower. I would say about half the time, though, now, man. Like, it can be a bit of a smudge fest. Like, he can fucking just overly just be too efficient on the ground with guys to where he's not really aiming for the finish, but he's just kind of holding you down there so much to where he's so strong and so dominant on the ground to where it's just, and his striking isn't all that to where it's just like that's been his bread and butter for years, but now he's finally making it a bit more entertaining for the fans. His striking has been developing a lot, and again, like his past couple of fights have been fun to watch. So Merab, I'm going to put him in the C tier. It would have been F a few years ago, it would have been D a year or two ago, and now it's fucking C. He's slowly been one of these champions where it's like maybe a Kamaru Usman, like all of a sudden, like they're kind of a bit of a decision merchant or nothing too entertaining to watch in the build up, and all of a sudden they touch the title, and all of a sudden they're getting knockouts, and all of a sudden they're fucking getting finishes and great fights. Like same thing with Islam Makhachev, you know what I'm saying? So maybe there's just something about these guys touching the belt that makes them a little bit more exciting here. They just get a little more fucking rejuvenated, okay? I wish that could have happened to Leon fucking Edwards, but it is what it is. So I'm gonna put Merab in the C tier here, okay? Moving on up next to Volkanovski. I'm going to put Volk in the B tier. I love Volkanovski. He's my favorite fighter, but I would be fucking bullshitting y'all, and I'd be shitting bricks if I said Volkanovski was the most entertaining fighter there was. All right, like Volkanovski, he kind of has lost his finishing ability once he really entered the upper echelon of the rankings and all shit like that. But don't get me wrong, he could still get ground and pound over fucking Yair Rodriguez and shit like that. He's still able to put on wars against Brian Ortega and Diego Lopes. Like, not only can he get finishes on the feet and on the ground, but and that goes to show how well-rounded his skill set is. Like, Volkanovski is elite in all regards, but even when he is going the distance, like, a lot of the times, like, they're fun fights. Like, the fights against Holloway, like, most of those were pretty fucking good scraps, and the ones I already mentioned, like, Volkanovski, even at his older age against Lopes, he's still putting on bangers, and he's still fucking winning. The fight against Makhachev was amazing as well, so maybe I should put Volkanovski higher, okay? But I just feel like there are a bit of times where some of his fights, they can be a bit underwhelming, they can be a bit slower paced. Like, some rounds with Volkanovski are just clearly much more exciting than others, and that's alright. Volkanovski is still, in my opinion, a more entertaining fighter than not, but I don't think his finishing ability is all that. I think that occasionally he can put on not even a bit of a snooze fest. Like, his fights that are a bit slower, they're not even boring, but they're just a lot more patient, they're a lot more technical, they're a lot more of a chess match vibe, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's still entertaining, but it's just not all that. It's not all flashy. It's not keeping you fucking screaming out of your seat and your blood fucking pumping the entire time. You know what I'm saying? So Volkanovski, I'm gonna put him in the B tier. My favorite fighter, and I'm entertained most of the damn time, but it's nothing we've never seen before. Maybe in terms of skill set, but in terms of entertainment, maybe not. So moving on up next to, here's the fucking thing, you guys. If you put me in the D or F tier, I swear to God, I'm not gonna go to war for you guys. I'm gonna put Sean Strickland in the fucking C tier, okay? You just don't know with Strickland. Like, he can go out there and he put on a really fun fight and he has really high output on the feet, or he can go out there and put on a fucking stinker, alright? The fight against Paulo Costa, that was rough to watch. The fight against DDP, for the rematch, it wasn't all bad, but he literally just got beat the fuck up for 5 rounds and almost finished in the 4th, and Strickland's really hard to finish, so that kind of says a lot, man. Like, Strickland, it's not like Strickland has been in a decline in terms of entertainment. It's more so like this is just kind of how he's always been. Like, some fights with Strickland are just more entertaining than others. I feel like it depends on the mood he's in. I feel like it depends on the opponent that's in front of him in terms of how good they are, in terms of what their style is. Are they also primarily a striker who wants to stand and bang? Are they a heavy grappler? Are they more patient and technical? Like, whatever. It just depends on who's down to tango with Strickland inside the fucking cage to bring that dog out of him. It depends on the shit talking and the build up, whatever the fuck. If Strickland has a point to prove, he'll go out there and beat your ass like an Adesanya vibe, but he also could be a bit of a fucking Smash Bros punching bag at the same time. So Strickland, you really just don't know. And it's crazy to say because the same style of him shows up every time. He's got the Philly shell. He's on the back foot a lot. Like, he throws a solid amount of output on the feet, but he doesn't hit super fucking hard. And it's just like, you kind of know what you're getting with Strickland. Maybe once every 5 fights, he'll shoot some fucking takedowns, shit like that. But that is what it is, man. You know what you're getting with Strickland every time, but you also can't really guarantee it's going to be all that entertaining. Like, occasionally he will put on a war, and he'll do what he says he's going to do. I'm just going to go to war for you fucking guys. But then he could put on a fucking snooze fest the next day. So it is what it is. You just don't know. Moving on up next to Carlos fucking Ulberg here. I'm going to put Carlos Ulberg in the D tier, okay? We have Israel Adesanya at home at S. I mean, Carlos Ulberg, like, at first when he's on the come up and he's fighting a bit of jobbers here and there, like, he's getting knockout after knockout, okay? Like, Alonzo Menafield, man. People forget, man. Alonzo Menafield, he was damn near practically diving into the fucking punches coming from Ulberg here, alright? But I'm going to put Ulberg in the D tier. He can get finishes here and there, but I feel like as soon as this guy started fighting more legit competition, he's just gotten a bit boring here. The fight against Ozdemir was alright, but it wasn't anything to fucking write home about, okay? The fight against, who was it, Blachowicz? That was a stinker. That was one of the, how do I put this? It wasn't all bad, but it was one of the worst fights this year at the same time, okay? I don't know how to fucking put it, but Ulberg, man, I just feel like if you put this guy against a lot of the guys in the rankings right now, he's going to put on a stinker. Now, who the fuck knows? He's still young. He still has a lot of room to grow. He's still going to be around for a fucking while. I feel like the fight against Reyes is going to probably be pretty fun, especially if Reyes fucking wins. So there's that. But I don't want to just judge Ulberg's whole entertainment level based off his past couple fights alone. But in general, it's a bit of a hit or a miss. You know, he trains out of City Kickboxing. Like, he trains heavily with Adesanya, Volkanovski, shit like that. Like, this guy knows how to be patient. He knows how to be technical. He knows how to maintain his energy. He knows how to fucking maybe just take this one to the distance and just win on the judges' scorecards. Like, he knows he's very capable of that, okay? He knows that's the safer route via victory. Like, I just think that Ulberg, he's not much of a risk taker inside the cage. This guy, I feel like his rate of putting on stinkers is just going up and up each fight, okay? So Ulberg, there's a reason why a lot of people are shitting on him right now. There's a reason why a lot of people are saying this guy's a stink fest. So I think there's potential for him to kind of just be one of these guys that has a fun fight, has a bad fight, has a fun fight, has a bad fight. I could see that just being Ulberg. You know, that's what Izzy is, and Izzy's a big kind of vibe like that, but I'm going to put him in the D tier for now. I guess let's just find Adesanya. Let me fucking look through Adesanya right here. He's right fucking here. I'm going to put Adesanya in the C tier, okay? Let's talk about the two teammates here. Adesanya is just, I feel like, the slightly more entertaining version. Like, he could still get the knockouts over Pereira, and even the first fight against Pereira, that was solidly fun. The fight against Kelvin Gastelum was one of the best fights I've ever fucking seen. The first fight against Whitaker, and you could argue even the second one. The fight against Dricus Du Plessis, that was a fucking banger. Like, Israel Adesanya, the fight against Anderson Silva, like, throughout his career, he has been known to be very capable of putting on fun fights. But for every fun fight and every fun finish for Adesanya, it seems like there's the Jerry Cannonier fight, the Sean Strickland fight, the Yoel Romero fight. Like, there's been the Marvin Vettori fight. There's been some fucking stinkers for Israel Adesanya, man. I'm going to put him in the C tier. You just really don't know. And especially now, at this point in his career, where he's just like, he's on a 4-fight losing streak. He's lost most of his last, 7 fights in general. And it's just like, there's not really matchups he can win now in the rankings. He's just getting older, and he's getting slower, and he's getting, more easily finished. Before, it was really hard to take him out of there, but it's just like now with Adesanya, you don't fucking know, okay? In terms of entertainment, though, I feel like now that he's kind of a bit more on, the challenger instead of the champion approach, he's kind of getting a bit more after it in terms of making fights a little bit scrappier. The fight against DDP, the fight against Nasruddin Imavov. We've kind of seen that tone shift from him, but in general, you just don't know with Adesanya. It could be a banger. It could be a brutal fucking knockout, and he's TikTok dancing over your fucking grave, unfortunately, but it could also be a 5-round stinkfest, you know what I mean? Like, if you run back the fight against Strickland, okay, or the fight against Paulo Costa, it's a literal 50-50 if it's going to be a fucking round 2 or 3 finish from Adesanya in the feet, or if it's going to be a 5-round snooze fest and the opposite guy ends up winning. You don't fucking know, or maybe Adesanya wins, so I'm going to put him in the C tier here, man. Very patient, very technical, but I feel like he's capable of getting the fuck after it a bit more than Ulberg has been showing. You know what I'm saying? So, moving on next to Esteban Ribovics. I'm going to put Ribovics in the A tier, okay? Ribovics is another guy like Tatsuro Taira. Get him the fuck out of the Apex, man. What is this shit? Over his past 3 fights alone, they could have fed generations. The fights that Ribovics has put on in his last 3 performances could have put on so many goddamn fans alone. But again, why is he in the Apex over his last 2 performances? He should have been getting a fucking promotion after his performance at the Sphere. But then he just got back-to-back Apex fights. And again, both of them were so fucking fun, and they're around a similar level of competition to Daniel Hooper. I don't think Ribovics should just, give him a top 10 opponent. I'm not just fucking saying that, but this guy, put him in front of a crowd, man. Let fans see this guy. The ratio of fans that are watching an Apex card to compare to a crowded fight night is night and fucking day. Let alone compare that to a pay-per-view. A pay-per-view is even fucking more eyes on you. So when this small fraction of the fan base, okay, and it's not all bad, because again, the hardcores, they're here to fucking support Esteban Ribovics, but in general, it's not too many eyes and not too people that are aware of Esteban Ribovics. Not even you gotta know the guy by fucking heart or by name, but he's consistently putting on fight of the year candidates. So many hundreds of strikes thrown, so many knockdowns, so many fucking wars. The reason I'm not putting him in the S tier is because I feel like very recently, over the past couple years, he's been putting on very fun fights. And it's not like he's been boring before that. He's always been a heavy pressure fighter. He's always had good finishing ability on the feet. But in general, I just think lately he's been really coming to his own. He doesn't have all those like instant classics just like left and right, you know what I'm saying? He doesn't have all these classic knockouts and he hasn't fought at the more elite level to where I'm not just going to throw him in S. I'm going to keep S sacred, but Ribovics, man, especially lately, has been putting on banger after banger, and get this guy out of the fucking apex, please. So moving on next to Alexandre Pantoja. I'm going to put respect on the champ's name. I'm going to put him in the B tier. Very underratedly entertaining, man. Like Pantoja, the thing is, like, he's been really coming into his own lately. He's been really working on his fucking craft. His striking has been developing. We all know how good his chin is. He's durable as fuck, so he's not afraid to get in the pocket with a lot of guys. He's not afraid to get scrappy. He's put on fun fights against Steve Erceg and Brandon Moreno and Brandon Royval, and then he's fucking submitting Kai Kara France, submitting fucking Kaya Sakura as well. So Pantoja, man, this guy's really coming into his own, really gaining the respect and admiration. They're all tipping their Ben Askren throws to Alexandre Pantoja here, man, and I think he deserves it. Like, the guy, he's very grapple heavy, so if you're not all entertained by grappling, like, sure, a lot of Pantoja fights, they might not be for you, but in general, man, like, the striking, he knows how to go back and forth with guys. The grappling, he has a really good chance of fucking submitting you down there, and he doesn't make the grappling all boring. He's actively advancing to get submissions. He's actively changing positions. He's actively trying to fucking ragdoll guys down there or throw a couple of shots. So Pantoja, man, I feel like over the past couple of years, he's been really developing. Like, when this guy won the belt, everybody was fucking making memes of him because he was crying on the mic and saying, thank you so much. But now everybody's fucking got so much respect for him. And a lot of people are saying, like, Pantoja is a sleeper pick of a guy who's, like, an entertaining fighter. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not all going to be bangers. It's not all going to be fucking constant excitement, but I feel like Pantoja is an underratedly exciting champion, man. He puts a high pace. He's really aiming for finishes. He's getting even better, even though he's only 35 years old. And he has a lot of great bangers that he's been putting on, man, especially since winning the belt. So moving on next to Movsar Evloev. Now, Evloev, I'm going to put in the D tier, but with some love. I'm going to put it in the D tier with some love, okay? Evloev's last 3 or 4 fights have been pretty fun to watch. The fight against Diego Lopes, the fight against Arnold Allen, the fight against Aljamain Sterling, the fight against Dan Ige, okay? It seemed like since Evloev started getting in the rankings, he's been starting to put on some fun fucking fights. The come up, though, I mean, and even now, we just gotta address the fucking Dagestani elephant in the room here. Like, there's no finishes. There are no finishes. And like I've said multiple times throughout this video, I don't need a fighter to have only fucking finishes for me to rate them as very exciting. But I feel like it does matter. If you know that one of the fighters is just, there's a pretty much damn near zero chance of him getting a finish on the feet or on the ground, it removes a bit of that urgency and excitement as a fan, or anticipation, because when you have a guy who hits hard on the feet, or he's a dangerous submission artist on the ground, you're kind of anticipating for him to, like, knock him down or aim for that submission, or like somebody with the fucking advantage on the feet or on the ground to really take over, you know what I'm saying, and get that submission. They have a threat. They're dangerous. They're keeping their opponent and the fan guessing. But with Evloev, it's pretty much damn near guaranteed, especially now that he's fighting at the upper echelon of the division. Like, if he wasn't going to get finishes on the come up, if he wasn't going to get finishes against the jobbers of the division or against the Dan Iges of the rankings, like, he's not going to get fucking finishes over, like, Diego Lopes or Arnold Allen, okay? Like, there's no fucking chance. Volkanovski, there's no fucking chance. A lot of people want the Volkanovski fight because they know that Evloev is going to be one of these guys in the rankings that has no chance of really fucking knocking out Volk, unless Volkanovski's chin is just fucked beyond belief. Evloev, I think he's the worthy number 1 contender. I would rather see him get the title shot over Yair Rodriguez. I think the sport should be the sport, and Evloev has made his way to the number 1 contender spot and has earned his shot for the title. But I'd be lying. It's like somehow worse if he becomes champ, if that makes sense, than a guy like Yair. Like, Yair is a terrorist to the sport. Yair is a fucking doomsday device to the sport. But Evloev, man, the consistent decisions, and his last couple of fights, they have been fun. Like, again, like, he's on a bit of a consistent fun fight streak. Even the fight against Aljamain Sterling, a lot of people thought that that might be a fucking snooze fest, but that was a good scrap, a lot of grappling, but that didn't mean it had to be boring. It was still a very fun fight. Lots of entertaining scrambles. Like, Evloev was piecing him up on the feet, but Sterling was able to take him down efficiently. Like, it was a good fight. Evloev, though, man, he's not the absolute worst you'll see, but the lack of finishing ability, like, he's putting on fun fights, but it's just not all that. It's not all that fucking exciting. And there's just a bit of something missing in the air when you kind of know what you're going to get. You're going to get a very patient, technical, a bit scrappy here and there, very well-rounded skill set on display, kind of performance from fucking Movsar Evloev. You know what I'm saying? So, great fighter, deserves the title shot, but it's a D tier. He's not that entertaining, man. And I don't know. There's just something missing in the air. You know what I'm saying? There's no buzz for an Evloev fight most of the time. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. I'm fucking sorry, okay? I'm trying to respect him here, but be fucking real with y'all. Moving on next to Islam Makhachev. I'm going to put Makhachev in the B tier. I fuck with Makhachev, man. Like, again, I was saying this about, I think it was like Merab, okay? Like, one of these champions that when they touch the belt, all of a sudden, now they know how to get finishes. Now they're really starting to put on back and forth fight of the year candidates. Not that Islam Makhachev was all born on the come up, because he definitely was, and he was very impressive. He get finishes here and there, but he wasn't standing out. He wasn't earning a lot of bonuses. He wasn't really catching the fans' eyes just by, like, being a guy that, like, is dominant, making his way up, and trains with Khabib, you know what I'm saying? And has a damn near undefeated record. Islam Makhachev, though, man, really fun fights over the past couple of years, and just a lot of finishes as well. I feel like he's kind of doing it all, and what makes it even better with Makhachev compared to some other guys is that you know that he's the best fucking fighter in the world right now, or at least the fucking second best, behind like maybe a guy like Topuria. So you know that not only is he high level, but now he's fucking exciting as well. So for the whole career of Islam Makhachev, I'm going to put him in the B tier. Over the past few years alone, I would have put him in A, to be honest. But moving on next to Belal Muhammad. Hey, I went out there and I went against the game plan, I went out there and I struck with Jack, I'm not shooting any takedowns against this guy, I'm the best fighter in the world. Belal Muhammad, dude. I'm going to put him in the D tier. I really don't have much to say with Belal because it's pretty much the same thing as Movsar Evloev, except I feel like I'm a little bit more entertained by Belal. I feel like he's a little bit more entertaining on the feet. I feel like he's a little bit of the better boxer, you could say. It's crazy to say because I think Evloev has underrated striking. So maybe that's not the case, but both these guys have underrated striking in general. Belal Muhammad, he's a heavy pressure fighter. When he's trying to take guys down and really just efficiently control them, like he's not showing a lot of ground and pound. He's not aiming for submissions. It's a bit of a snooze fest, okay? Most of Belal Muhammad's fights are boring scraps, but I'd be lying if I said that they were all boring. Occasionally here and there, he puts on an exciting scrap. Not exciting like a Jiri Prochazka scrap, but exciting like an Alexandre Volkanovski kind of fight. You know what I'm saying? Like it can be patient, it can be technical, but when he's bouncing Edwards' head off the fucking canvas in the rematch and shit like that, and making massive improvements since the first, and he's putting on a heavy pace, piecing him up on the feet and rocking him a bit like that, like that's kind of the more entertaining side of Belal Muhammad. Or the fight against JDM, he's standing and banging in the first half, and he's trying to implement his grappling in the second half. Like Belal Muhammad, he's had that in his back pocket, but when he gets scrappy like that, the chances of him winning go down, so it just kind of is what it is with him. You know what I'm saying? So I understand it. But Belal Muhammad, he's more entertaining in my opinion than a guy like Movsar Evloev, but we're kind of comparing the same fucking thing here. They're around the same fucking ballpark. You know what I'm saying? It's like comparing the Fresh Prince and that fucking 70s show. Moving on up next to Diego Lopes. I got to put Diego Lopes in the S tier. There hasn't been a single boring performance in the UFC. This guy has so many finishes on the feet, on the ground in general. Like, he has devastating KO power, but a good jiu-jitsu base. Like, the guy's well-rounded, but he puts on great scraps, man. Like, the fight against Brian Ortega, the fight against Volkanovski, the fight against Evloev, when he's going, the fight against Dan Ige, when he's going the distance. They're fun scraps, but he knows how to get insane fucking knockouts on the feet here, man. Lopes is guaranteed action, guaranteed excitement damn near every time. He's bringing a very consistent entertainment level every fucking time. Like, this guy looks goofy, he's got the mullet and all that and the crazy ass tattoos, but it's a recognizable face, and he fights so frequently to where a lot of people can recognize him and be like, oh, that's fucking Lopes. He got that knockout last card, or that great fight last card, okay? So everything you kind of want in a company man from Uncle Dana, okay? Moving on up next to the BMF champion. Hey, it is what it is, buddy. We're gonna find out Saturday night. I feel like I can only put this guy in S or A because he's the BMF champion and he's worthy of being so. I'm going to put Holloway in the A tier though, okay? Now here's the thing. Here's the fucking thing, you guys. I feel like a lot of people would say that Holloway is guaranteed action. I feel like you could say that, but for me personally, even though he's been developing a lot in the power over the past couple of years, especially at lightweight, even though that he's pointing down the middle of the cage, even though that he's beating up most of his opponents, and he throws an insane amount of volume and output on the feet, he's piecing guys up, he's very precise, but he's throwing so much fucking output, it's like an avalanche of strikes. It's like a gum pistol from fucking Max Holloway here. But occasionally some of his fights just kind of, it's like a Petr Yan thing where they kind of feel very similar. You know what I'm saying? You kind of know what you're getting with a Max Holloway fight. Like, very good technique, very back and forth war, very high output from Holloway. He's very durable, but he knows how to get scrappy as fuck. He sets a very high pace. He's got good cardio to maintain it the entire fight and the whole fucking duration. He's a bit of the immovable object and the unstoppable force. He's kind of a bit of fucking both in one. You know what I'm saying? That's a great fucking fusion dance for you. But in general, Holloway occasionally, like, his fights can just feel very similar. Occasionally some of his rounds are just a bit less entertaining, a bit like the fight against Poirier. That was a great fight. That was one of the much better fights this year, but I feel like that is a fight that's not like a top 5 or maybe even a top 10 fight of this year, which is crazy to say because it was a very good fight. It was very fun. Both guys had great moments. It was a great striking battle, okay? And when Dustin jumped the fucking ghillie, I love that shit. But it wasn't anything super fucking crazy to compared to like what we expected, or even just like in general the other fucking fights. You could argue that on the same card, Holland versus D-Rod was a more entertaining fight. So it's shit like that. Like that's, I feel like, a good example to summarize Holloway's fights. Like they're very consistent, they're very entertaining. It's primarily a strike and fucking stand and bang battle, but there's a bit of a samey kind of feel to it, or there could be a bit better fights on the same fucking card somehow. Even though it's good, even though he's very consistent, even though he's entertaining, and even though he's primarily a striker, I don't even think the fact that he mostly goes the distance is part of it. Like, it's just the fact that everything kind of feels a bit the same sometimes with Holloway, or some of his fights are just a bit less entertaining than others. You know what I'm saying? It's not that guaranteed 100% action like the guys that are in S. Unfortunately, I love Holloway. I think A-tier is fucking fantastic. I think he's very entertaining, okay? But hopefully you know what I'm saying. And if not, it is what the fuck it is in his words. You know what I'm saying? Moving on up next to Ian Machado motherfucking Garry, bro. I'm going to put him in the C tier. I'll put Garry in the fucking C tier here. I'm one of these guys that I actually have to stand up for the motherfucker, okay? Unfortunately, because I can't stand Ian Garry. I don't fucking like the guy, but I respect the activity. I respect that he's fighting up in the rankings and down. He's not just one of these guys that's fighting once and bitching for a fucking title shot. Or he's one of these guys that's like, I only want to fight in the top 3 and nobody else. He is realistic at just being active as fuck, fighting up, fighting down. I can get the fuck after that with Garry, okay? The problems I have with Garry is whenever he opens his mouth, okay? I can't stand the guy on this fucking mic, dude, okay? All that being said and done, in terms of only his in-cage fighting style, and that's what I'm judging, right? In terms of only the in-cage fighting style here, man, I'm going to put him in the C tier just purely because on the come-up, he was getting a couple of finishes, a couple of knockouts, you know what I mean? He was getting knocked down a couple of times, too. People forget, man. There were some scary moments for Ian Garry, but in general, he's a bit of a decision merchant once he hit the rankings. You don't really know anymore. And even when he was in the come-up, it's not like he had, like, insane one-shot knockout power. Like, he had to kind of follow up with a lot of combinations. He wasn't just really flatlining guys. Like, he got a nice head kick KO over D-Rod and shit like that. So he does have a bit of power, but it's nothing all that, especially once he entered the rankings. Now, don't get me wrong, the fight against Carlos Prates was the first fun Ian Garry fight I've seen in about a couple of years. Like, the fight against Jeff Neal was a stinker. The fight against MVP was a stinker. The fight against Shavkat Rakhmonov as well. So that was a bit of fresh air. Like, Ian Garry wasn't afraid to get in the pocket with Prates. He was moving the fuck forward. He was piecing him up on the feet. He was getting scrappy with him, even though he knew that Carlos Prates was ranked 13 in the rankings and had nasty KO power to fucking take his lights out, okay? So Ian Garry, a bit of hit or miss. Like, if he fights every time similar to how he did in the Prates fight, I'm totally cool with that because I was pretty entertained that fucking fight. But there's also just the Neil Magny fight, shit like that. Like, there's some fucking stinkers from Garry here, man. He's a hit or miss guy. I just don't fucking know anymore. Moving on next to Jailton Almeida. Jailton Almeida, I'm going to put in the B tier. Some people would put him in D or F. I think that's fucking disgraceful, okay? Like, Jailton Almeida has one stinker of a fight in the UFC, and that was a 5-round shitty-ass main event against Derek Lewis. I got to put him in the B tier for that because otherwise, he has pretty much all finishes in the UFC. On the feet, he's powerful as fucking, has good striking for heavyweight. On the ground, he has really good grappling for heavyweight. He's really good with his submission entries. And he's just very strong and dominant in general. He's very powerful on the ground, it seems like. So, the guy's strong in all regards. He's a finishing artist. Most of his fights in the UFC, hey, he's fucking ended them, okay? But that fight against Derek Lewis, man, it was an absolute smudge fest. And it's a bit of a stinker on his record because that was the most attention he's gotten. That was his own main event. And for him to have it, and it was in his home country, and for him to have that opportunity and make it a stink fest, that's why it kind of resonates with a lot of people. That's why a lot of people have a hard time forgetting about it. In a sport where people forget, man, you know what I'm saying? But nobody's letting go of this shit. And it kind of looms over his career, unfortunately, even though he is racked up wins since and finishes since. But look at the fight he had right after that against the Derek Lewis fight. It was the Curtis Blades one, I believe. And that was just, that first round, you could tell that he was trying to stink it up. He was trying to make it a snooze fest. He had no problem with that. And then he got knocked the fuck out. Someone in his fucking head, the chromosomes must have rearranged. And then all of a sudden, he got back to fucking putting on finishes and exciting scraps. So, Jailton Almeida, I think the Derek Lewis and the Curtis Blades performance really loom over his career. I think when you kind of look outside of that, it is exciting fights or it is a lot of dominant finishes. So, Jailton Almeida, man, I'm going to put him in the B tier, okay? Moving on up next to Ciryl Gane. I'll put Ciryl Gane in the C tier. Hit or miss. I know he's primarily a striker, but when he's getting beat up on the ground, like he's getting taken down by Volkov and Ngannou and shit like that, like he's getting a bit controlled efficiently at times, okay? And on the feet, like, yes, he can get knockouts over Tuivasa, and that was a really fun fight. And he can knock out Sergey Spivak. He's a great fighter. But in general, you just don't really know what got him. You don't know if it's going to be a fucking 3-round stinker. You don't know if he's going to get fucking knocked out or submitted in the first fucking minute or two of the fight. Or if you don't know if he's going to go out there and get a fucking high volume, hometown crowd raging out of their fucking seats performance, and he's getting a round 3 KO. Like, who the hell knows? But that's why I gotta put Gane in the C tier. Like, who the hell knows with him? You know what I'm saying? And he's also pretty inactive, so you just kind of forget the the parts that are actually entertaining about him. Like him versus Tuivasa for like fighting for the number 1 contendership spot. And they were in France and they were having like a fight of the year candidate. Like that was about as entertaining as Gane could have fucking gotten. You know what I'm saying? So you just don't know with him. Moving on next to Ilia Topuria. I got to put Topuria in the S tier. Like, the early goings of his career in the UFC, like I don't think it was too memorable and shit like that, but like over the past few years, man, this guy has just been developing so much on the feet. Crazy KO fucking power to where he's knocking out all of our fucking heroes and all of our fucking legends. This is Thanos if Thanos legitimately kept on winning, okay? And he keeps fighting more elite competition, and the grappling, like his first fucking 10 MMA fights in general or something like that, I believe are all by submission. Maybe not 10, but someone like that, okay? So the grappling has always been there, and he's fucking trying to put Charles Oliveira in a crucifix, and he's fucking stuffing down his takedowns, and he's fucking knocking him out a minute later. Like, the well-rounded skill set is so there for Topuria, and the fact that he's fighting at such an elite level and he makes it so entertaining is amazing, okay? If he's going the distance against Josh Emmett, like that was a banger where Topuria beat him the fuck out brutally over 5 rounds, okay? Or Topuria has a nice back and forth fight against Max Holloway before he gets the knockout, or just in terms of the highlight reel, look at the fights against Volkan, Oliveira, and Mitchell, like taking their fucking souls away from them, okay? Topuria is constant action. He talks shit on the mic as well, which really fucking helps, and the dude has aura. He's very consistent in the cage. It is damn near guaranteed action. It is guaranteed action. It fucking seems like. And the fact that he's the champion makes it even better. And the difference is Aspinall, he's the champion as well, and he's in the S tier. But Aspinall is just, he hasn't had any of these like back and forth kind of moments or wars. He's very efficient in taking guys' lights out. But Topuria, at least, like he's having a bit of fun fights before he gets a brutal fucking knockout. You know what I'm saying? So Topuria, I'm going to put in the S tier, man. A great guy that you want to have as champion. Moving on next to Aljamain Sterling. I'm going to put some respect on Sterling. I'll put him in the C tier, okay? I feel like the fight against Cejudo was pretty underratedly fun. The fight against Evloev, you know, this guy's, people forget, man, this guy's submitting Cory Sandhagen in 60 seconds. So Sterling, you know, even the rematch against Petr Yan, like he has been capable of putting on some entertaining scraps here and there. But I would say a bit more so than not, like he's going to the distance, he's putting on a bit of snooze fest, like he's not always making his grappling entertaining. Against a guy like Evloev, his grappling, like that was a pretty fun fight. Like we saw a lot of fun scrambles. Aljamain Sterling made the grappling entertaining. But we've also seen him smudge fest guys, or when he actually does get like ground and pound TKOs, it's over Dillashaw who has one fucking arm. You know what I mean? So Sterling, I feel like he's underratedly entertaining, but his finishing ability isn't all that. He's a bit of a pitter-patter puncher on the feet, and his grappling at times can be a bit boring. He kind of picks and chooses when he wants to fucking whip around guys and try and fucking choke them out, or he wants to just kind of stall out the rounds, like a Calvin Kattar fight. He literally just chose in that third round when he wanted to activate, actually beating him up and inflicting damage on the ground. For the first 2 rounds against Kattar, he was just holding him down, and then over the last, like, you know, few minutes of the fight, he's like, oh shit, I kind of want that bonus, and he starts beating him up. You know what I mean? Like, where was that the whole fucking fight? So for Sterling, underratedly entertaining, but also not that entertaining at the same time. You know what I'm fucking saying? You don't really know with Sterling. I'm going to put him in the C tier here. Moving on up next to Dricus Du Plessis. I'm going to put DDP in the A tier. I love DDP. I think he's constant entertainment, but I don't think it's guaranteed to the level of like I'm going to put him in the S tier, okay? Because you do have the fights against Strickland. Like they weren't all that, especially the rematch. Like they're all right fights, but they're nothing like too fucking crazy here. And again, he's knocking out Whitaker in 1 round. He's fucking beating up Brunson. Like, there's been so many fun finishes and fun back and forth fights from Dricus Du Plessis. There's a reason why I'm putting him in the A tier. I think he's very consistently entertaining. And he's another guy that's well-rounded. Like, he's a bit goofy. He's going to win by flying anvil, or he's going to win by slipping on a fucking wet floor sign. He's fucking falling into knocking out his opponent. I love the goofy goober style. I know over his past couple fights, he's been a little bit more technical, but most of the time he's getting these fucking finishes over guys on the feet or on the ground. But in the build up to that moment, they're pretty fucking fun fights. They're very high paced. There's back and forth moments. Du Plessis rocking guys, but also he looks so goofy and he is hittable to the point to where it's competitive, but he just keeps on randomly fucking winning. And I love Dricus Du Plessis as the champion, man. Like, he talks shit in the build-up and actually makes the fight exciting outside the cage. But in terms of his fighting ability, he's always hunting for the finish. He has a very high pace and pressure. He's always looking to either squeeze your head off or take your fucking lights out on the feet. So I can appreciate that from Dricus, man. Always hunting for a finish, always looking for entertainment for the fans, but he's also fighting at a high level. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to put DDP in the A tier here. Moving on up next to Roman Dolidze. Dolidze, I don't got much to say here, man. Like, I feel like you could argue like, oh, Roman Dolidze, like he's not that bad. He had a lot of knockouts early in the UFC, and he just TKO'd Kevin Holland. Well, not TKO Kevin Holland, but you know what I'm saying. So people might say, oh, Dolidze, he puts on some fun scraps, but I just think this guy more so than not is putting on stinkers. Like the fight against Anthony Smith, how was that in a pay-per-view? The rematch against Marvin Vettori, how was that a main event? Like there's shit like that. Roman Dolidze gets these really big spots, and he has a main event coming up this fucking weekend. He has a main event literally this weekend against Fluffy Hernandez. But I'm going to put him in the D tier just because the knockouts just don't really come as naturally, I feel like, as he was on the come up in the UFC. And it's just like, he's not all bad. He's not always put on snoozers or stinkfest, but I feel like I just have a really hard time getting amped up for a Roman Dolidze fighter. There's not really a buzz in the air, and I don't think it's because he doesn't really say much on the mic. I just think the fighting style doesn't really translate. He's not always hunting for the finish. He doesn't have the crazy highlight reel. A lot of his fights, they go the distance, and they're very forgettable, okay? Again, it's fine to go the distance, but if your fights are pretty forgettable, there's not really any moments, or not a lot of output on the feet, not a lot of submission attempts, whatever it may be, but not a lot of intrigue during the fight, not a lot of action, not a lot of back and forth. That's a lot of what Roman Dolidze's wins have been lately. So I'm going to put him in the D tier here. Moving on, I guess, to his opponent, man, Fluffy Hernandez. I'm going to put Fluffy in the B tier. Fluffy Hernandez, I appreciate you because he makes grappling entertaining. He's primarily a guy who he wants to take the fight to the ground. He's got good takedown entries, and he has really good cardio to maintain a very heavy pace throughout 5 fucking rounds. You know what I mean? Like, we saw him beat him up, Brendan Allen, for 3 rounds. We saw him fucking whip around Michel Pereira for 5 fucking rounds. So the guy has cardio for days. He puts on a very high pace and pressure on the ground. He's ragdolling guys down there. He's getting fucking submissions over Roman Kopylov and shit like that. But the striking's been developing a bit. I think if his striking continues to develop and he keeps kind of becoming more comfortable, kind of getting in the pocket and getting scrappy with guys in the feet, maybe getting a couple more knockouts, like I feel like he'd move up even more. But I appreciate Anthony Hernandez. He makes the scrambles fun. It's fun to watch an Anthony Hernandez fight, even though you know what you're going to get. He's going to try and take this guy down and fucking squeeze his lights out. But I can rock with that from Anthony Hernandez. He's very impressive to fucking watch, to say the least, okay? Moving on up next now to Sean O'Malley. Now, Sean O'Malley, I'm going to put in the A tier, okay? Not always guaranteed action. He puts on a fucking stinker against Merab here and there. But in general, most of the fucking time, Sean O'Malley, man, is putting on bangers, okay? The fight against Petr Yan, the second fight against Merab, he's getting knockouts over Aljamain Sterling, or he's piecing up the fucking god of all gods, Chris Mutino, whatever the fuck it may be. Most of the time, I'd say 90% of the goddamn time, O'Malley is entertaining, man. He's a very precise sniper of a fucking striker. He's not like a guy like Topuria who has kind of just insane one-shot KO power. It's more so like O'Malley. He does have power in his hands. He does know how to fucking crack. He has a lot of finishes on the feet, but he more so relies on the precision, the accuracy, and the combinations, like following up with all the right shots to really take guys out of there, or just overloading them with fucking output on the feet and piecing them up, landing nice to the body, landing good leg kicks, and then all of a sudden, boom, they're fucking falling to their ass on the mat, okay? So O'Malley consistently, if his fights go the distance, a lot of the time, they're really fun scraps. If he's getting round 1, 2, or 3 fucking knockouts, we'd love to see that as well, but for Sean O'Malley, I'm going to put him in the A tier here, okay? Not much to be desired really at all on the mic, but that's not what we're fucking talking about here. So moving on now to the last one we got here. Magomed Ankalaev. I'm going to put in the C tier. I mean, he's hit or miss, man. He's getting fucking very fun to watch knockouts over the goofy-ass Johnny Walker, or he's putting on absolute fucking stinkers against Alex Pereira. Like, you really don't know. You really don't fucking know. Like, some people love the fight against Blachowicz. Some people fucking hate it. Some people think that Ankalaev gets way too little of finishes, and some people think it's a perfect amount. Like, Ankalaev, sometimes he'll get these crazy fucking knockouts, or just he has good, solid finishing ability in general, but also the other half of the time, it just stinkers, very slow, very dragged out, very not memorable moments, like the fight against Rocket, shit like that. Like, there's fights from Ankalaev here that are just leaving so much to be desired. Like, you know he can crack on the feet, but sometimes he just fucking doesn't, man. And sometimes he does have really good moments, but sometimes it's just nothing to be desired as well. So Ankalaev, I feel like he's not too great of a champion you really want to have for the division, unfortunately, but it also could be worse at the same time. Like, I'd almost rather have a guy like Ankalaev as champion over like Carlos Ulberg. So it is what the fuck it is. So it could be worse, but it's also not fucking great. You don't really know with a Big Ank here, okay? So Big Ank, I'm going to put him in the C tier. And that's going to be my list, man. This is the entire yap session here of a fucking tier list. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, man.
Thank you guys so very much for giving me your time and attention here, man. Let me know your opinions in the comments below. Who should I have included in this list that I almost didn't? Like, there were so many names. There were like 40 names I covered in the damn video. I thought about including even more, but let me know your opinions. Who should I have added? Who should I put higher? Who should I put lower? Just in general, what are your thoughts and opinions on the matter, okay? And thank you so very much again, guys, for giving me your time and attention. Whether you're subscribed, not subscribed, whatever the fuck, thank you so very much. Please give this video a like. Please subscribe. It'd mean the fucking world to me, but in general, thank you guys so very much. I appreciate y'all. Hope you have a good time watching the fights this weekend, man. All the smoke here, and I will see you guys next time.